Walker, I just figured out why I've been feeling weird about movies lately. You know that feeling when you walk out of a theater and you're like, that was fine, I guess? Even when it's a movie you should love?
Oh God, please tell me you didn't spend 3 hours analyzing Marvel movies again.
Actually, yes, but hear me out. I've cracked some things this time. You see, Hollywood keeps doing these 12 things they think are power-ups, like video game buffs, but they're actually debuffs that are slowly killing what we love about movies. And it's hitting everyone differently depending on your age, but we're all feeling it. Let me cut to the twerk and tell why your favorite movies feel off. Look, when Han Solo walked onto the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens, I literally teared up. That worked, but by The Rise of Skywalker, they were literally having dead characters talk to each other in Force Ghost group therapy sessions. It went from, oh my god, it's Han, to, oh god, it's Han, again. Same thing with Spider-Man No Way Home. Seeing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield together was magic for exactly 10 minutes. Then you realize the entire plot is just, what if we threw every Spider-Man villain from the past 20 years into a blender? I mean, I was rooting for Jamie Foxx though. If you're a teenager discovering these franchises now, you're basically doing homework just to understand the references. If you're in your 30s like me, you're getting flashback fatigue. And if you're 50 plus, you're asking, why can't they just tell a new story? The Flash cost $300 million, and by the hair on my chinny chin chin, the story made no sense. Meanwhile, Everything Everywhere All at Once cost $25 million and delivered more creativity in 10 minutes than most blockbusters manage in 2 hours if you were not confused, out of your mind, or suffering from secondhand embarrassment, that is. When studios spend Avengers-level money, they get Avengers-level scared. Remember that scene in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where they're jumping between universes? It looks expensive as hell, but what's the emotional stakes? I couldn't tell you because I was too busy watching Benedict Cumberbatch fight paint monsters. Now compare that to the rotating hallway fight in the original Inception. That probably cost a fraction to make, but it's burned into our brains forever because it served the story, and it looked hella cool too. Jack Sparrow in the first Pirates movie, mysterious, dangerous, unpredictable. Jack Sparrow by the 5th movie, just Johnny Depp doing a Keith Richards impression while the plot happens around him. Fast and Furious went from street racing to launching cars into space? What the actual f***? When Dom Toretto is driving on ice in Antarctica while giving a speech about family, you've officially lost the plot. Literally. Even Marvel is struggling with this. Remember how cool Loki was in the first Thor? Now he's been quipping and redemption arc to death across like 8 different projects. That final fight in Black Panther looked like a PS3 cutscene, 2 digital people punching each other in a digital environment. Meanwhile, the best scene in the movie was just Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman talking in a room or whooping their asses by the waterside. The Lion King remake is the perfect example. Technically incredible, emotionally dead. You can't have Simba sing Hakuna Matata with realistic lion facial expressions. It just looks weird. But then you watch something like Mad Max Fury Road, where they actually crashed real cars and flipped real trucks, and the difference is night and day. You can feel the weight of every impact.
Wait, are you telling me that scene where Tom Hardy is chained to the front of a car was real?
Real cars, real desert, real explosions. That's why it looks so much better than anything in the Fast movies, even though those cost 3 times as much. Hans Zimmer ruined movies. I said it. That Bram sound from Inception is now in every single action movie. Batman v Superman is basically 2 hours of orchestral screaming. Remember that quiet moment in A Quiet Place, where they're just quiet? I mean, it had more tension than any amount of dramatic scoring, but most movies are terrified of silence now. The worst is when you catch yourself crying during a mediocre scene just because the music is manipulating you. Like that sunset scene in Justice League, you're not crying because Superman is inspiring, you're crying because the composer is literally forcing tears out of you. The hell out of my ears, man. Even the nerdy characters in Marvel movies look like underwear models. Peter Parker is supposed to be an awkward teenager, but Tom Holland looks like he stepped off a magazine cover, not that my sister complains. In Wonder Woman 1984, Gal Gadot is fighting crime in full makeup and perfect hair. Again, no much complaints, Meanwhile, in the original Alien, Sigourney Weaver looks like she's actually been running for her life through a spaceship for hours. Instagram has broken Hollywood's brain. Everyone has to look like they have a ring light and a filter at all times. Dwayne Johnson plays Dwayne Johnson in every movie. Black Adam, The Rock in a cape, Jungle Cruise, The Rock on a boat, Rampage, The Rock with a giant gorilla. Compare that to someone like Gary Oldman, who completely disappears into roles. In Darkest Hour, you forget you're watching the guy from Leon the Professional. That's actual acting. But when Will Smith shows up in Aladdin as the genie, all you can think is, why is Will Smith blue? Also, why Will Smith, man? Come on. Spider-Man: Far From Home. Trailers basically showed you the entire plot. Mysterio's illusions, the identity reveal, the final battle. I mean, why even buy a ticket? And don't get me started on misleading trailers. Yesterday was marketed as a Beatles comedy, but was actually a romantic drama about anxiety and imposter syndrome. That's not what I signed up for. The worst is when all the good jokes are in the trailer. You're sitting in the theater going, okay, when's the part I haven't seen yet? Tenet is confusing as hell, but at least it respects your intelligence. Meanwhile, Eternals has characters literally explaining their powers and motivations to each other, like they're reading Wikipedia articles. Remember The Dark Knight? The Joker never explains his plan. He just does terrifying things, and you figure out the horror as it unfolds. That's infinitely more engaging than having Jared Leto's Joker literally tell you, I'm the Joker, baby. Meh, at best. Show Don't Tell My Boys. It's screenwriting 101, but apparently nobody got the memo. You see, Ready Player One is basically 2 hours of, hey, remember this thing from your childhood? But pointing at a DeLorean and playing the Back to the Future theme doesn't make your story good. Marvel is a dead ringer of this. That scene in Endgame, where all the female heroes randomly team up for a group shot, cool image, makes zero tactical sense. It's just there so Twitter can screenshot it. Fan service should enhance a good story, not replace it.
Okay, but that shot was pretty badass, though.
It was badass, but imagine how much more badass it would have been if it actually made sense in the context of the battle instead of feeling like a commercial break. Look, diversity is important. Black Panther worked because it told a specifically black story with black characters in positions of power. Everything Everywhere All at Once worked because it was authentically Asian American. But then you get movies where it feels like they cast people to hit demographic quotas rather than tell authentic stories. Characters become walking representation instead of actual people. The worst is when you can literally see the focus group notes. We need a strong female character. Okay, but can she have flaws and an actual character arc, or is she just going to be generically empowered for 2 hours? Also, please, I am on my knees, Mrs. J.K. Rowling. Please do not cast Harry Potter as a black man from Croydon. I tried to watch Doctor Strange 2 and realized I needed to have seen WandaVision, Loki, What If, and probably 3 other Disney Plus shows to understand what was happening. Marvel has created a system where you can't just enjoy one movie. You need a PhD in Marvel studies to understand why characters are making the choices they're making.
I mean, isn't that kind of cool, though? Like, it's ambitious.
It should be cool. The MCU Phase 1 was incredible because each movie worked on its own and built towards something bigger, but now it feels like homework. I shouldn't need to watch 6 hours of Disney Plus content to understand a 2-hour movie.
Fair point. So, what's the solution?
Honestly, I think we need to go back to basics. Tell complete stories. Trust the audience's intelligence. Use practical effects when possible. Cast actors who disappear into roles instead of just famous faces. Look at what's working. Top Gun: Maverick respected the original while telling a new story. Everything Everywhere All at Once was completely original and weird. Dune took its time and didn't over-explain everything. The good news is that when movies get it right, they really connect with people. We're not broken. Hollywood's approach is broken, but there's hope.
All right, I'm convinced. Barely. So what are we watching next?
Something that came out before 2015 when everything started getting weird. Want to watch Mad Max: Fury Road again? Always my G. Hollywood keeps recycling old tricks like they're still magic, but now they're just noise. Big budgets and nostalgia aren't the problem. It's when they replace real storytelling. Movies should hit us in the heart, not just the eyes. We deserve more than formulaic CGI homework. So yeah, demand better, because your time and your $15 is worth a real story.